Everyone, and welcome to the High Tide Foundation's Career Stories interview. We hope these interviews with our business members will help you to look behind the scenes in their business and see how they got to where they are. Today, I'm Owen Brennan, and I'm here with Anthony Suddes from AV Dawson. Hi, Anthony.
Hi.
So first of all, could you tell us a little bit about who you are, what your job role is, and what AV Dawson does too?
Yeah, I'm Anthony. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager for AV Dawson, a company based in Middlesbrough. I think most people will be aware of AV Dawson through the haulage. It's one of the most visible things of the business. You'll see the trucks going up and down the motorways. But really the business is a lot more than that. We have extensive port operations down on Riverside Park. So we've got a kilometre of quayside where we import and export. We've also got a big rail terminal, so one of the largest independent rail terminals in the north of England. So that's actually based on our site. But we also have an extensive property or land as well. So we've got 100 acres down on Riverside Park, which hosts multiple tenants and our own operations as well. So there's a lot more than just road haulage.
Yeah, a lot of different parts of logistics all in one business then.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so thinking back, did you want to be in this kind of business or like this marketing communications aspect when you were growing up, or was it something completely different?
Something absolutely completely different. I wanted to be an architect when I grew up. So ever since the age of 4 or 5, it sounds pretty sad actually. I was an only child that grew up on a farm. And I used to draw houses all the time and build them out of Lego and stuff like that. So I had a real interest in that. And I wanted to do that all the way up until work experience. And I went to work experience, loved it, but it was all CAD work and computer aided design. And I like the drawing aspect of it and stuff like that. So I suppose I've always had that creative element, but it was also the 9 years at university that kind of put me off being an architect as well. I didn't quite fancy that. So it kind of left me in a bit of a lull. I didn't really know what to do. I knew I liked business related subjects, so I kind of tailored my my college choices around that. I did business with history and just quite a wide range of different subjects, just so I kind of left my options open. And then I went to university to study a business finance degree at Durham. So I did that just to kind of give me the widest options possible, because up until, well, still after leaving university, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I guess I've kind of fallen into marketing, but there's always been an interest in it. I've always known I like that aspect of business. There's also the creative element in there that kind of from the architecture days I wanted to do. That's all kind of fallen together to kind of come to where I am now.
Yeah, so all those experiences, so testing out lots of different things kind of led you to that
exactly.
point,
It was like a lot of marketeers I speak to, it's always an informed career choice for them, whereas I've kind of fallen into it. I feel lucky to do it because I absolutely love marketing aspect of business. But yeah, I've never said I want to be a marketeer, I want to do this. It was always kind of, I've found myself in those positions, whether it's an e-commerce manager or in a wider marketing managing role.
So could you tell us a bit about that journey from going from finishing university to where you are now in AV Dawson?
Yeah, so when I left university, I fell straight into a graduate scheme, working for UPS, the parcel company. So as part of that, you had to become a delivery driver for 6 months. So I wore those really attractive brown uniform. So I moved to Leeds and did that for 6 months. That kind of, it's not a funny story, but that kind of ended with me being out on a delivery route just before Christmas and getting mugged. So that was a bit traumatic. It wasn't just us, it was a number of other people, but that kind of put me off, along with the kind of route they were trying to push you down was to be a depot manager, whereas I wanted to go into head office and do kind of the marketing functions and that. So I kind of took a bit of a backward step after that and thought, right, I just need to leave this. And when you're 20, 22 and you don't have a care in the world, you can kind of do that. So I moved back home.
Time to move around.
Didn't have a job to come back to. But I was really lucky to fall back into a job that I'd done previously before university or throughout university, which was working for a company called Armstrong Richardson. They were rebranding. They were a big pet and equestrian wholesaler. So I just got my old job back doing that. But it kind of felt right that we're looking for an e-commerce manager to set up their, to run their newly formed e-commerce site, and I had the experience, so I was lucky enough to kind of jump into that role. And then it was it was a steep learning curve into the world of e-commerce because I was so green, it was unbelievable. So yeah, that was trying to get your head around PPC and stuff like
learning
that.
everything at once.
Exactly, but it gave me another insight into a different aspect of marketing, into digital, which has really set me up into this role now as well. From there, I moved on to a B2B telecoms company called Odyssey Systems. So they do telephone systems for businesses, big businesses in the area. So they're based in Stockton. I spent a good 3 years there, really enjoyed it, but I wanted to get back into the kind of digital aspect of it. Of marketing again, so I then moved to a company called Colwood Internet, based over in Stockton. But I was then heading up the e-commerce project for Asda Tyres, and then eventually the RAC shop, Confused.com Tyres, and then RAC Tyres as well. So it was.
Was that all at once? All those.
What was that? Sorry.
Was that like all at once? You were managing those.
Yeah, pretty much. So we had a team as well, but it was me that kind of oversaw the whole e-commerce operation and marketing strategy for them. So I spent a lot of time in Asda head office in Leeds, down at the RAC in Birmingham and Bristol. And it kind of gave me the sourcing for the online shop, but then I was looking after the digital platforms. So really, I've worked in some exciting industries, telecoms and tyres.
Yeah.
And then,
Dawson, I guess,
and then moved to AV Dawson after that, and that was there was a lot of travelling involved in that role before, and I was spending a lot of time away from home. But I found I wanted to be get into a more rounded marketing career, so I could look after digital, but I could get into the more traditional PR writing and stuff like that. Because if you're out of that, you kind of lose the skill. So
it can get like very technical very quickly, and
Exactly. So that's it kind of came at an opportune time. My boss was just being promoted, and he was looking for a new marketing manager. So and that's the job came up, and I jumped at the chance. It was a really good marketing role in the area, so I applied for it, and then I was lucky enough to get it.
You are. So what's your day-to-day roles now within your role at AV Dawson? A lot, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a lot. So basically, I look after everything that has probably and more that comes under a marketing title. So the PR aspect of the job, dealing with media, the website, internal comms. I also sit on various other parts of so our coronavirus team, our emotional health and wellbeing team as well. I form part of those. Anything you can think of in a marketing role, pretty much I cover. Signage, everything. So it's definitely a versatile role, and always keeps me on my toes.
All those signs behind you as well, I'm guessing. Some of your work.
Pretty much all those signs behind me, which incredibly difficult to make sure the spacing's right as well.
So many businesses and people like to get involved with things outside of their general day-to-day role. Is there anything that you do outside of the business that you'd like to talk about?
So I think one of my main interests is throughout the business. I would say we have a big dealing with the Middlesbrough and Teesside Philanthropic. We do a lot of work with them, and a lot of people around this business raise money for that. 96% of our employees come from the Teesside region, so it's the perfect charity to put or raise funds for us, and it really helps the local area. So we do that. But me personally, we're on house renovation number 4, which has taken up a lot of time. So we've moved from a nice house into one that needs a lot of work. So we're just navigating planning permission, and there's probably about a year's worth of work in that with extension. So that keeps me busy. But I'm also doing a journalism course as well. So where we spoke about kind of strengthening up your different parts of marketing, I would say PR was maybe one of my weaker aspects. So I'm working on that at the moment, doing a diploma in journalism. So I'll be after this, hopefully be a qualified journalist as well.
I think it's always important to keep improving those kind of skills and keeping on top of yourself.
Yeah, and I would say even from being in different roles, you kind of lose that skill a little bit. So when I said you kind of have to keep on top of it and keep working at it, and PR was one of those things that I kind of let slip a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just getting back into that technical writing, and this journalism course will really help me do that as well.
Definitely. So what are, aside from doing that course and other courses, what are some of your and the business's plans for the future going ahead?
Well, we've got hopefully I'll stay in this business a long time.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It's a great place to work, and I'm not just saying that because I'm the marketing manager of the business. But even from starting in the business, you know, if you join somewhere, you kind of get those first day nerves and think, what have I done? Why have I come here? And you miss all your old work friends. I never actually got that here. People were so welcoming, and it was nice. So I do want to stay in this business and grow with the business as it grows as well, because there is some exciting plans for the future. There is a couple of plans that we'll be launching in the next month or so that are keeping me really busy, which I can't quite say at the moment. But what I would say is look at our social media channels. Week commencing the 14th of September, because we've got a really exciting project that I've been working on for a number of months that we will be launching as well. So that's exciting. But I just think as well, growing the business is an important part of my role. And one of the issues we've always had internally is internal comms and making sure everyone is, because it's such a diverse site and there's many different offices, making sure everyone's informed in the business what we're doing. So there's a number of things we're now putting in place to improve that. So that's exciting as well. So.
Just like another extra question here, is your role changed very much since the coronavirus pandemic and seeing the change? If you notice any big changes in your role?
Actually, I would say yes, there has, but there was when British Steel collapsed last year, we kind of refocused a lot on internal comms and keeping our colleagues updated on what was happening and making sure they were really, really informed. And I would say that's happened during the pandemic as well, just because everyone's been working from home, people aren't seeing each other on a regular basis. It's been much more we've had to do around internal comms, making sure people are keeping in touch with each other, and making sure people are informed of what's happening in the business, whether that's through social media or whether that's improving internal comms and stuff and things we're writing to people. So and I think there is, we couldn't do much during coronavirus. Obviously there isn't the need to market itself as much, but my focus really changed on making sure that our colleagues were kept informed, that they knew what was happening, what steps we were taking in the business to protect them and keep them informed, and mental health as well. Like I said, I sit on our panel for emotional health and well-being. And there was a real worry that people working from home and people, especially lone workers that would be working from home, that their mental or their emotional health and well-being was looked after, and we were keeping them informed. They still felt integrated into the business. And obviously there was a number of people in the business that were impacted by coronavirus as well. People did lose loved ones, unfortunately. It's making sure that they were looked after and that they understood the support that was out there, the bereavement services. So that's how I would say my role's changed a little bit, and a lot more focus on internal communications and looking after the colleagues we have.
Definitely, sounds great. So this is always the hardest question as well. This is the last question. If you had one piece of career advice for your younger self, what would it be?
Yeah, it is a difficult one, this, but I'm a massive worrier. So I like to make sure things are planned, and if things aren't planned with an inch of the life, I worry. And I think, well, something could go wrong. And it's not just my work life, it's my home life as well. I like to make sure that I know what's happening, when it's happening, there's things in place. And I went to a job interview a few years ago up in Newcastle, and they did like a psychometric testing on me and looked at, and they were trying to assess my personality and stuff like that. And they asked me the question, it was something along the lines, if you could go to one place and do something, and that would be the last thing you did, what would you do? Now, I misheard the question, and I went into this full dialogue of telling them where I go for food, where I go on holiday, where I'd eat it, and I went into the finer details of everything. And at the end of it, he said, wow, we didn't actually ask you what you wanted to do, but it looks like you well planned, probably too well planned. He said, the universe isn't like that. He said, things are always going to throw something at you that you just didn't anticipate, that you can't plan for. So he said, my advice for you is you just need to let go a little bit, I think, with the words he said, and maybe not plan as much, because you need to kind of incorporate those things. So I probably say to myself, don't plan as much, don't worry as much, and kind of things do come right in the end. If there is something unexpected, you work to resolve it. And I'm still working on that. I'm nowhere near where I should be on that. I still worry far too much. I still probably plan too much, but it's something that I would probably tell myself to chill out a little bit. I think.
It doesn't. Definitely.
Yeah, and it doesn't help with the grey hair. I'm going rapidly grey.
Right. Well, yeah, it's really great advice. It's been really great speaking to you as well. Interesting to hear your story all the way through. So this interview will be uploaded to our Learning Hub as well as all of our social media pages. So if you head over there, you can find lots of different interviews with different engineering firms and different firms around Teesside as well. But for now, Anthony, thank you for speaking with us and good luck with everything in the future.
Thanks very much.